So let us start our discussion on object-oriented programming approach. Dear students, this is very important class. If you understand this object-oriented concept, the remaining things will be very easy. Otherwise, as most of the students do, you will be ending up in by hearting the object-oriented programming concepts. But we have to understand them. So, oriented programming, that means this whole program is oriented, is structured around the concept of object. What is an object? Object is any physical structure. A student is an object, a blackboard is an object, a stool is an object, a table is an object, a laptop is an object. If you go to library, a book is an object, a librarian is an object, a student is an object, and every object has attributes and properties. For example, a student object. What are the properties or attributes of a student? A student will have a name. A student will have a roll number. A student will have age, gender. All these are properties. And there are procedures, or often known as methods, the behavior of a student. What the student will do? Eat, that is an activity, that is a function. Sleep, read, these are all functions. Dance, that is also a function. So object-oriented programming is totally oriented with the objects, around the object, and every object has two parts: attributes or properties and methods. And in object-oriented programming, we design the objects so that they will interact with one another. And most of the famous or very familiar, very popular languages are object-oriented programming languages. For example, Java, C++, C Sharp, Python, R programming, PHP, JavaScript, Ruby, Perl, Object Pascal, Objective-C, Dart, Swift, Scala, Kotlin, Common Lisp, MATLAB, Smalltalk, all these are object-oriented programming programs. Let me give you an example. For example, you are writing a software for a library. Somebody has given you a contract to write or to develop the software for a library. So what does a library contains? Library ఎవరు ఉంటారు? లైబ్రరీలో లైబ్రేరియన్ ఉంటాడు. ఏం చేస్తాడు లైబ్రేరియన్? He will issue the books to the students, and students borrow a book from the librarian, and after due period they will return the books. Librarian can also include a new book and delete an old book or a lost book from the library. This is a description of a simple library. Now, suppose you are a procedural programmer, something like you know only C, you don't know C++, you don't know Java, you know only C. So what you will think? How to develop a software? So you will think about what are the activities that will take place in the description of the library. What are the activities here? Issuing a book, borrowing a book, returning a book, adding a new book, deleting a book. So you will underline all the activities: issue, borrow, return, add, delete. And you will write functions or procedures for issuing a book. Librarian, when he issues a book, librarian add a book, librarian delete a book, student borrow a book, student return a book. So you will think about the functions which are required for this system, and you will be ending up developing the functions or the methods. This is procedural programming or procedural thinking. Now, in the same situation, how an object-oriented programmer thinks. he will see what are the objects, first thinking, what are the objects in the system, who are the actors, who are the key players. Number one, there is a library, there is an object. There is a librarian, that is another object. He is another object. Book, that is an object. Student is an object. He will not bother about the activities, he will be bothered about the objects, the people or the physical entities. So he will develop class for a library. That means class means collection of objects. Library, there will, of course, in the library there will be only one object. Librarian, there may be one or two. Book, there may be thousands of objects called book, and there are maybe hundreds of students or thousands of students. So here, dear students, please understand the thinking, the thought process of procedural programmer is, he will think of what are the functions, what are the procedures to be developed. And object-oriented programmer, he will start with what are the objects in the system. This is the major difference between procedural programming and object-oriented programming. So let us try to understand an object. As I told you, suppose class, this class consists of all the students. A student may have the property, name, age, color, sex. All these are states or property or attributes. And a student has certain behaviors, eating, drinking, running, dancing, jumping, many. And this is the student object. And student object may have different properties. One student may have name as John. Another student may have Sophia, another student Lily. And they have different properties. And they have different behaviors. John can eat more, John can drink more, John can run fast. Sophia, of course here they think Sophia should be there. Sophia runs slow, something like that. So this is how the objects are built. Now let us try to understand the advantages of object-oriented programming.